Today, we're going to talk about how through goals-based financial planning, you can actually work backwards to understand how much you can reasonably and confidently spend on your lifestyle today, knowing that all of your other life priorities, what ultimately matters most to you, is already being taken care of. So what we're showing today is the financial planning software that I use with clients called Right Capital. For our sample case study today, we've got a 45-year-old married couple and they have two kids, a daughter who's 14 and a son who is 10. So starting with what matters most to them, again, these are the goals that we work through in the financial planning process. They've identified that they would like to give 12% of their gross income away to their church and other nonprofits that they're passionate about making an impact in our world. They've identified they would like to be able to retire by age 58 and also be able to spend in retirement about $10,000 per month outside of their mortgage. And then last but not least, helping provide college tuition at an in-state public university for their two kids for 4 years. So helping fund 529s and or UTMA accounts about $4,800 per year to get them to that goal. So by doing this goals-based process first, we can then work backwards to say how much this couple needs to reasonably save in order to hit these goals. And then last but not least, knowing what they can spend, knowing again that their biggest life goals and priorities are already being taken care of. So through this process, we've identified all of those numbers, which we can then look at on this cash flows tab here. So this just shows the waterfall or the breakout of where their income and expenses are ultimately going. So this couple between their two salaries makes about $425,000 per year and then generates about $10,000 in side income per year, so $435 gross income total. Their mortgage, which is a known expense, is about $3,500 per month or $42,500 a year approximately. They want to give away 12% of their gross income. So as a dollar amount, that's just over $52,000 a year. The software automatically calculates their total taxes owed between federal, state, and Social Security and Medicare taxes too. And then we've identified that based on hitting those goals, they need to save about $92,000 into what are called tax advantaged accounts. So that'd be things like retirement accounts like a 401k, Roth IRA, and HSA, and then also fund about $800 a month collectively into a 529 for their two kids' future college tuition. And then non-retirement savings, so that would just be in what's called a brokerage account or other vehicle that's not a retirement account, just under $18,000 per year. So if we take an even further step back from what this cash flow waterfall looks like, it looks like this in terms of the O, Grow, Give, Live framework. So their taxes of around $90,000 per year equates to about 21% of their gross income. That's what they owe. And then they want to have generosity goals or give about 12% of their gross income. And then we identified through retirement accounts and non-retirement accounts that grow or savings and investment amount needs to be about 25% of their income. So by starting with these three first, starting with goals-based financial planning, we can then back into what their expenses today can be, knowing that then they can work backwards and spend that money really confidently. That's about 42% of their gross income. As a dollar amount, we already know the mortgage of $3,500 per month. So again, knowing that live expense of 42%, we can back into that they can spend outside of their mortgage on average $10,000 per month or about $120,000 per year. Now, the system we actually use to implement this is very backwards from how traditional households run their budgeting or their cash flow. Most people put their income and all of their expenses and they all run through a joint bank account. What we're doing is flipping it on its head so that we can prioritize these goals and then the leftover can be spent confidently. So at $435,000 of income gross, after maxing out their 401ks respectively and paying for health insurance and maxing out their HSAs, this couple makes about $23,000 per month after taxes. So they redirect their direct deposit to come into their joint brokerage account. That's just where their investments live. So 23,000 is coming in here. Then again, we identified their mortgage is about 3,500 per month, and they could afford to spend outside of that about 10,000 a month. You'll see that here. However, we're only going to transfer 9,500 a month because we know anybody who owns a home or owns cars or has kids knows the only inevitable in life is change and things are always happening. And so we leave a 5% buffer for unknowns. We leave that back knowing it can be spent, but we're going to leave it back for now. So we're going to transfer 9,500 per month for all general lifestyle expenses, 3,500 for the mortgage. That's a total of $13,000 per month. So 23,000 is coming into this account, and then we automate a transfer. You can pick any day of the month. I like the 27th because then even in the short month of February, the money is always getting to the bank account by the end of the month, and knowing you can change the amount at any time, but you're automating a transfer from this account over to your bank account of 13,000, and then you're spending it on your mortgage and all other lifestyle expenses. So 23,000 per month is coming into this account, 13 is going out. So you've naturally accumulated $10,000 in your joint brokerage account, and then you can also automate from this account your other goals, right? So the 12% of income for generosity, that's about 4,350 a month. You just automate a transfer from this account to either what's called a donor advised fund, or you can do your church or other nonprofits from this account. Then setting up automations to max out your Roth IRAs. This is kind of your tax-free retirement money. That's $15,000 per year if you're a married household, $7,500 if you're single. This couple had a goal to spend $20,000 on a home renovation by the end of the year. So they're automating a transfer of just under $1,700 a month to get them to the $20,000 by the end of the year. And then they're also automating one more transfer to the two kids' 529s, $400 per month per kid, to be able to help fund future education goals. So by doing all of this and setting up these automations, you're working backwards so you can confidently spend this $13,000 per month, and then knowing that what's most important to you, like retirement, generosity, providing for your kids, and hitting your long-term goals, is actually taken care of at the end of the day.